This Nissan Armada is one of the most underappreciated SUVs on the market. And today, Alex and I are going to take it for a drive and talk a little bit about why, talk a little bit about what's good on this SUV, right, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. I'm behind the camera, and like Kay said, this is very underappreciated, I think, and I've been driving it the past couple days, and I put a lot of miles on it. I've driven it from Boulder to Denver and back 2 days in a row, and this is day 3 of me behind the wheel of this, and I'm really liking it so far.
There's really a lot of good that comes with this SUV, and not too long ago, it was facelifted, so you can see some new design on the exterior. However, this is a platform that is fairly old, but that's not all bad, partly because under the hood, we have a V8, and that's getting harder and harder to find these days. Another good thing about this platform, even though it's a little bit older, is the fact that it tows 8,500 pounds. That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
good amount of towing, and you wouldn't know it looking by the back here because everything's pretty well hidden by this hitch cover right here. But 2 little hand screws, you can pull that off and get access to your hitch and trailer wiring.
You know what else is getting harder and harder to find and seems to be more and more as time goes on, kind of a relic of older body-on-frame vehicles, is having a full-size spare.
Yeah, no compressor kit, no plug kit or anything. It's nice to have that.
Still, obviously, plenty of SUVs on the market that are sticking with that route of a full-size spare. But, again, as time goes on and on, it's harder and harder to find a full-size spare.
You might need that full-size spare, too. We'll look at the all-wheel drive system when we get in this, but pretty capable off-road vehicle, but definitely limited by the wheel and tire package on here. These are massive, massive wheels. They're 22s. And so that spare might come in handy if you take it out on some trails.
Yeah, and this is definitely too big of a wheel to do any real off-roading on. And here in Colorado, it would be nice to have a little bit more sidewall, even just because our roads are so horrifically bumpy. It's a pretty rugged place, as you can tell from even the weather that we're dealing with right now. But I do have to say, this combination of burgundy and the finish on the wheel is almost kind of a gunmetal shade. It's really nice. A little bit of chrome. It's a good looking SUV from the outside, and also partly because of the wind. Let's go ahead and hop in the back seat.
Yeah.
We're going to get this on the road in just a moment, and then we'll take a look at the front seats, but I'm not gonna do a fire drill to get into the back seat while we're moving. So before we get going, this is pretty impressive right here. Captain's chairs with this huge console in the center. You've got some cup holders here. You also have the world's deepest little glove box of sorts here, center console, and look at that, Alex. You got headphones and screens in the rear headrests. That is very much a relic. You're not gonna find this as an option on vehicles probably for much longer.
Yeah, I mean, BMW is doing that crazy full width screen that folds down now, and yeah, I mean, I remember riding in the back of my mom's car all the time, watching movies and stuff. Not something you see all the time anymore.
I think these are for early 2000s kids. Today's kids mostly are using their iPads, but even so, really nice interior back here. We have our own climate controls and heated seats, and our vents are actually up here, up top. But really nice to have your own climate controls. The materials back here are all really nice. The quilted pattern on the seat.
And what does that button do right there? Oh, you can pop it from the back.
As if you didn't have enough storage here in the back. Now, something else that Alex really likes a lot is this on the door card.
Yeah, that just screams luxury to me. Anytime I see this rippled leather, a lot of Japanese vehicles do this. Some people think it looks weird and stretched and, I don't know, like it's kind of worn out, but to me it screams luxury.
Yeah, it's not a bad look. And
one thing I dislike about this interior, and you can really tell that this is an old platform when you look at it, that's a tiny little sunroof.
Yeah,
look how small that is.
That's definitely something that could be updated, because it seems like everything now, even some pickup trucks, have those near full-length moon roofs.
Or just glass roofs in general that don't open.
But something that does work really well is the tumble on the second row in order to get into the third row of seats. And your space back here is, well, it's pretty much what you would expect from a third row. You know, it's not a boatload of space, but if you had to, you could bring people back here. I mean, third row seating is never really meant to be all that comfortable, but you do have some cup holders back here. You have vents back here. So as far as third rows go, it's far from the worst of them.
Yeah, and you've even got a seatbelt up there because this is still a 7-passenger vehicle, even with the captain's chairs in the back. So
hey,
2 up front, 2 in the middle, 3 in the back.
Look at this. Are these are these that the second row seat that they clip into?
Yeah, that would be these latches.
Well, yeah, but they're like body color. You see that?
Yeah.
Huh,
Poorly painted body color though.
That's kind of interesting, actually. Oh, and something else I forgot about this second row. Yeah, we'll move on from here right after this. But this seat actually reclines quite a bit.
Do they slide back and forth too? I guess not, because they're anchored into those clips we just looked at. So.
Yeah, so it is nice that it reclines. And then let's hop around to the trunk. Of course, power lift gate. Not the world's fastest power lift gate, but powered nonetheless. And then something that's even slower, but is a nice feature to have, are these electronic seats. The third row folds down at the press of just 2 buttons, 1 for each. It's a 60-40 split, and they go nearly flat once they're all the way down. And that's a good amount of space. I mean, this is a big vehicle. It's a big SUV. And yeah, with the third row down, you have a fair amount of space. Another really nice feature is because this operation is electronic, you can power fold them back up. And you really don't see that on too many other vehicles.
Yeah, and it looks like you also have a little control there for the seat in front of you, so you can push a button and get that out of the way.
Tumble them, get out, you won't be trapped.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty nice.
Oh, you're not using the power, man.
Right.
Come on.
I always forget. I'm very, very old school. It didn't yell at me, though.
It didn't.
Yeah, not too bad. So, let me grab the camera from Alex and...
give that to you. Let's hop in.
Yeah, we can finally get on the road. See what the drive is like.
Now, it is big, but stepping into this, it doesn't feel super high off the ground. It's really easy to climb in. It's got running boards, too, so super easy, but it's not like a jacked up vehicle. And then just taking a look at this infotainment system here, a lot of good materials. Let me turn this AC down a little so it's not as loud. But yeah, a lot of features here. So first let's look at this top screen here. A couple years ago, Nissan updated this and made it wider and bigger. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay now, and I've really been a big fan of this new Nissan system that's across the board in all their vehicles. It's colorful, responsive, I like it, and I'm a tech nerd, so that stuff's important to me. Pretty traditional gauge layout here. You've got, you know, analog, tachometer, speedometer, and then a center cluster there with all your digital information. Hard push buttons on all your climate controls. We do have heated and ventilated seats up front, and I don't really care too much about whether or not a vehicle has hard physical buttons like that or haptic stuff, and I'm sure in the next generation we're going to see a haptic layout.
Yeah.
But this kind of shows its age right here. I'm okay with it. And then looking down here, nice kind of wood panel cover there, but if you lift it up, you've got a wireless charger to keep your phone out of the way, trailer brake controller, and a couple USB ports.
Trailer brake controller.
Yeah,
also
that's
integrated,
nice.
really nice to have. Something else that's old school that we always love. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Very nice. Traditional shifter is great to see. You've got this little control dial here, which I actually haven't touched at all because this is a touchscreen. So that's my preferred way to use this system, is to just kind of tap around. But you do have a camera button here.
We've also
so we
got...
can see our kind of vintage looking cameras.
Yeah, it's not a massive camera layout. There's some really impressive camera systems on the market. But
off-road right
here. Yeah, here is the four-wheel drive control.
So super easy to go into 4 high. If not, it's in auto. So that's nice that you don't even have to really think about putting it into 4-wheel drive if you're, you know, on wet roads. Then we've got a snow mode, a tow mode, and traction control off, and of course 4 low as well.
Yeah, so really not bad.
Yeah, let's take this for a spin. We've got just a couple seconds of dirt here before we get out onto the main road. But even on dirt, this is a really rough parking lot, and it's soaking up the bumps really nicely. You can feel the weight of this vehicle. Anytime you're in a big, heavy vehicle, you feel planted.
Yeah, and it leans luxurious, of course, in the way that it rides. Good ride quality for being able to pull 8,500 pounds. It's again, a pretty impressive number. Something else that we should talk about, though, because this is an old school V8, 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, 5.6 liter. There's a lot under the hood. And like I said, that is getting harder and harder to find on the market these days. And we'll throttle it a little here.
Oh, it sounds so good, though. Old school V8 power, you gotta love that.
Gotta love the old school V8 rumble.
What you're not gonna love is how much fuel you have to put in this to run it all the time.
Yeah, it's 15 mpg combined on this, and that is compared to, of course, the Sequoia and the Expedition, which are both V6s, and even compared to a V8 Tahoe with a 5.3, it's worse than all three of them.
Yeah, it's not great. The past 2 days I've been driving this around. It's showing an average of 16.2. Yeah, I mean, that's nothing to write home about, and especially when a lot of the competition, like, you know, the Toyota Sequoia is a hybrid now, and you look at things like the Tahoe, which you can get with a 3-liter diesel and get high 20s for your MPG. This really starts to look not quite as modern, and there's a lot of people out there that want the old school V8, and they'll pay the premium in fuel to hear that rumble and to drive something with an old school powertrain like this. But I think it's pretty safe to say that next time Nissan comes around and kind of redoes this Armada, it's probably going to be some sort of hybrid V6 powertrain.
Yeah, it's hard to say, you know, I mean, the manufacturers never talk about their future products before they come out, so it's anybody's guess. But yeah, I mean, as much as I do love the old school V8, you are going to pay for it in fuel costs over the years. But it is still nice to have options on the market that give you that, like we were saying, if you want really good fuel economy, that 3-liter Duramax Tahoe would be the way to go. But still, there's not a bad system on this. Should we talk a little bit about price?
Yeah, we'll talk about price. Well, before we do, I didn't show this. I turned this off because for some reason my eyes just can't get used to these, but you do have a camera mirror. I guess I'm old school, and I much prefer to see what's behind me through a piece of glass. So
old school.
We've got that, yeah. Pricing on these it jumps around a lot. So if you get a base model 2-wheel drive, it's right around $50,000. This is the highest tier platinum trim with 4-wheel drive, and it's coming in right around $70,000.
Yeah, and that is encroaching on starting pricing for the QX80.
QX80, and of course that's 2-wheel drive base model QX80. But
that starts at about 72. If you want 4-wheel drive in a QX80, it jumps up to about 75. So even a base QX80 is a bit more expensive than this really spec'd out model here of the Armada. But you know, it's a consideration. If you want a really luxurious Armada, something like this, you're also going to have to consider the QX80 because pricing wise,
yeah, they're getting similar. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to look at a spec sheet of a base Armada, or sorry, a base QX80 and this side by side, and see every feature side by side, what you're missing or what you're getting by going with one or the other. But there's a lot to be said for the badge that's on the front of your vehicle driving around. I mean, even if it's a base model, people associate Infiniti with luxury, and Nissan's not always associated with that. So if you're doing it for image, the Infiniti might be what a lot of people go with. But as far as what you get and packages in this, yeah, it might be a little bit of an outdated platform. It doesn't have a full digital cluster up here. There's some things it's missing, but this has every feature I would want out of a vehicle to be a daily driver.
That's the thing. I mean, I think those are some of the reasons that it is an underappreciated SUV, but at the same time, it's still a really good machine. It's capable of a lot, and especially that towing figure and the fact that it's got that integrated trailer brake controller. Love that. So there's a lot to be said for this Armada. It's a good vehicle.
I mean, as a family hauler, you can load up all your kids and your kids' friends and everything, and then hook up a camping trailer or a boat to the back of it and take it out for the weekend. very practical. You could fit a lot more of your family's crap in the back of this than something like a half-ton pickup truck that, you know, would do the same job towing your toys around.
So let us know what you all think in the comments below, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Yeah, head on over to alltfl.com and tflbids.com to see what we've got up for auction this week. I know David's GMC, his Cummins-powered GMC is up for sale right now. You want to check that out. So yeah, head on over there. I'll see you in the next video.